Okay, so here we are, Mentorship Masters. We call this the Roundtable Meetup. I'm your coach, Uncle Knolly, back at you again. And today we're going to be talking about DISC. Let's talk about DISC, baby. Yeah, we're talking about DISC. And we're talking about you reaching your ultimate greatness through DISC. Again, my job is to inspire you to become all that God created you to be so that you can live the life you were meant to live. And that's what I'm on earth to do. That's my job right now in this season, my sojourn here on the planet. That's what I'm all about. So before we kick it off, though, I want to get to some quick announcements, and I'm going to share my screen so I can do this. Okay, let's see. Let's go to, no, we don't want that. We want PowerPoint. That's what we want. Okay, so let's talk about DISC. Now I'm going to close the chat box, but if I'm just going to do some quick announcements and I'll come right back. So again, today we're talking all about DISC. Remember, I did a whole topic, a whole training around the whole concept of making sure, okay, that when you lead generate, okay, you lead generate around your personality profile. This is a book that I wrote to help you guys it's called Triple My Listings. Okay, I know it's kind of hard to see in that little window, but it's 27 marketing ideas for free seller leads. You pay the shipping, we send you the book. The book is free, you pay the shipping. Knolly.com is where you get it. But a lot of times people go through these and they're like, which one should I focus on? Well, you want to focus on the ones that are commensurate with your personality profile. And that profile now Artemis and I like the wealth dynamics system much better. Okay, wealth dynamics. But that is a lot more intricate, a lot more detailed for those of you that are really ready to go further down the path. That's where you want to go. But keeping it basic, we're talking DISC, the DISC, 4 different personality profiles. And the doctor that came up with this system found that generally people fall into one of 4 categories or a combination thereof. And so understanding who you are is paramount to success. Okay, so that's what we're going to be talking about today. We talk about DISC, baby. Let's talk about the DISC. All right. So before we do that, I want to introduce our newest masters. And since our last time together, we've added Anthony Taylor out of Washington, D.C. High five. Welcome, Anthony, to the group. We got D.C. in the house, baby. So we have a representative in D.C. Yeah. We got Amy Smith, who was actually brought to us by Stuart Sutton. Stuart Sutton is a celebrity agent. So we're going to be covering his story hopefully next week. He started in the business before Gary Keller started Keller Williams. And he was working with Gary Keller way back in the day before he even started the company. We got Rosa in the house. What's up, Rosa? I know you're there. And Rosa is her market is El Paso area. So, and then we've got Tiana, who was brought in by Hollis Dean. Thank you, Hollis. She's out of Central Texas. Leland was brought in by Will Gilliam, and I'll be seeing Will and Deb very soon. Actually going to be seeing them this upcoming week. I'll be on vacation next week. What's up? Vacation, baby? Huh? Yeah, all right. And then Anthony West was brought to us by Eric Garris. Thank you, Eric. And Anthony is out of Michigan. Then we've got Andrea Hayes out of Arizona. We've got Ira Wright out of New Jersey. We've got Emmanuel out of Florida. And Lisa is right here, Central Texas. She's actually in the Houston area. So welcome our newest mentorship masters. We love having you. And for those of you that have any masters on the fence, show them the video, okay? Show them the video, and then have them have a conversation with me, a 3-way call. Or if they're really, really, really big, we'll put them on the phone with Curtis Johnson, Jay Kinder, Brent Gove, Mike Reese. Anybody in our organization will be willing to talk to them if they're, a lot higher caliber than me, right? Okay, so we also want to recognize our Masters of the Month. We've got Tony Pippinger, Katie Johnson, Valerie Floyd, Will Gilliam, David Dutton, Nick, we call him Nick Sir Chuchin, They're all at 100%, baby. They've all capped. They're getting 100% of commission. And then we've got a bunch of masters right on their tail. Alicia Martin is right on the tail, and so is Eric Jones and Byron to kind of get in that 100%, that cap. It's fun getting 100% commission. I got to tell you, it's a lot of fun. All right, so and I think I've just about capped. I'm almost at cap myself. So our ambassadors. You become an ambassador when you bring one agent to Mentorship Masters. You become one of our ambassadors. So leading the pack is Will Gilliam. Right behind is Mina Slaughter. Mina came out swinging, so she's in second place. We got Charles Lee in third place, and then Nick and Melody and Anthony are right behind that. And then we've got a bunch of you guys that have brought over one person, okay? Each one, reach one. We want as many people as possible here. Why? Because this is where they're going to get the goods, the goodies for success. So if you guys have a question for Chris, Rebecca did point out that I had the phone number in here incorrect the last couple of times. So this is his correct phone number, his email address. That's my main man, Chris Capistrano. And he's been with me for 6 years. So if you ever have a question, Chris is the guy that can help you or lead you in the right direction. Okay. Let's talk about EXP in the news. I got a couple things I want to share with you, and then we're going to talk DISC. So remember last time when we worked together, I was talking to you guys about the fact that EXP is expanding into 5 countries. You know, we hired Michael Valdez, who is now over our international. He ran the international division for Realogy, which is, Century 21, Coldwell Banker, Sotheby's, Better Homes and Gardens, on and on and on. They have over 330,000 agents. They're in over 100 countries. And Michael Valdez was the vice president of international for that company for 14 years. Well, he's just joined EXP as of the last few months. And he's got relationships in over 100 countries. He's got deep-seated relationships. And so he is expanding EXP for us into France, India, Mexico, Portugal, and South Africa this year. Did I say it right? Yes, I did. This year, we're going into all those countries, and we're going into those countries before the end of the year. Okay, before the end of the year. So, but first, so I announced that last week, but what I want to tell you is that what looks like the next one to open is Mexico. Okay. And when we hit the ground, we're not hitting the ground with 1 or 2 agents. We're not like, hey, our doors are open. Does anybody want to join? No. Michael has a completely different, if you listen to him or seen any of the podcast or YouTube presentations, he has a completely different vision. So when he goes in, he's partnering with other large organizations, and he wants to have 1,000 or 2,000 agents on the ground when we launch. Okay, in other words, when we launch, we're going to launch with thousands of agents in every country. So it might even be a year before EXP International is as big as EXP US. That means we'll double in size. And we're at 30-some thousand now. We could easily be at 60, 70, or even 100,000 next year. Our goal is 1 million agents over the next 10 years. We haven't even gotten started, guys. When I got to EXP, the stock was about $8.10. I just checked my stock portfolio yesterday, and the stock is hovering now above $30. So my stock has gone up more than 4x. Okay, so it's pretty incredible, and we're awarded stock, by the way, for when you bring an agent over. Like, for example, when I brought over, let's say, Judy Honeywell, okay, or any of you guys, when you came over, the company gave me 40 shares of stock. Okay, 40 shares. Now those shares of stock today are worth $1,200. You see what I'm saying? So, and it keeps going up, and I think it's going to keep going up. We were a $1 billion company 3 months ago. Now we are a $2 billion company. And pretty soon you'll be like, oh, we were a $10 billion company. Now we're $20 billion. That's the trajectory. That's where we're headed. So I just want to give you that news. Mexico will probably open within the next few months. And South Africa might even open before Mexico. Okay, South Africa might be open in the next month or so. So just keep an eye out on it. We also have EXPCon coming up, and let me give you the dates for that. Okay, so EXPCon is going to be in November, and it is, let me see if I have it here. Oh, I don't have, oh yeah, I do. Here we go. So it's November 9th through the 13th. Okay, 9th through the 13th. So EXPCon, you want to block out your calendar. It is going to be virtual, okay, because of COVID, you know, but it will be virtual, but it will be fun. It will be amazing, and you definitely want to be there. Okay, so that's our announcements. Let me get back to, that's EXP in the news. Okay, so now let's talk about DISC. Let's talk about DISC. All right. Got that song stuck in my head. All right, so, all right. Okay, let me see here. Okay, Judy Honeywell sent me her disc, and I'm looking it up on my phone, my email. We're going to do yours first, Judy. Okay, so I'm going to attempt to show you guys this. Let's see if you guys can see that. Yeah, you can see it. Red, orange, yellow. See that? Okay, so what Judy is, let me write this down. Judy is 37D, 32I. Okay, so, and then her S is 21%. So let's look at this. Okay, so let's look at this, Judy. Thanks for volunteering to be a good sport. All right, so Judy is basically a DI. Okay, see that? She's a DI, and that's an I. And then she's got a low S. Okay, this, let me write your name down. Judy. Okay. All right, Judy. So let's talk about this. So this is you. You're a DI with a low S. Okay, DI with a low S. So your D. Let me look at this again here. So your dominance is 37%, and your influence is 32%. Okay, so that makes up over 60% of who, about 65% of who you are. And then your S is 21%. So what that means is your S can actually be pulled up. Okay, your S can be pulled up if it needs to be. And so, and your and your C is 10%. So let's just throw that out. It's gone. It's not even there. So we won't talk about that. So you being a DI, so this is a classic mega agent profile. Okay, write that down. Classic mega agent profile. And this is when a person is on their game. I got to say this, that a lot of people have been dumbed down to their destiny. They've been dumbed down to their destiny. We got the D's rocking today. Okay, they've been dumbed down. So a lot of you, or some of you, may not be living up to your potentiality. You may not be living who you really are. You may have assumed someone else's role. But if you're living your potentiality, this is how a DI shows up. So a DI, these are the people that run corporations, they run businesses, they run organizations. They tell you what to do and where to go. and that's the D. The D is very dominant. It's a dominant. It's like now as a woman with a high D, okay, sometimes women with high Ds can be misunderstood, like my wife. Okay. So when, yeah, I see that, Judy. We'll address that in a minute. So sometimes a woman that is a high D, by the way, what will dumb down a woman in the high D category is caring too much for others. Okay, so a lot of times when a woman has had a family, she has basically sometimes put her priorities on the back burner. Most times, actually, put her priorities on the back burner and put the priorities of everyone else before her. And so what happens is there becomes if you go through 10, 15 years of doing that, you begin to forget who you really are. Okay. So if you're a high D, but you're putting other people first, um, that's great. But a high D is a driver, is a mover, a shaker, a leader, a CEO, a business builder. Now the I is like the life of the party. People like to be around you. You're cordial. You're fun. And the fact that you got these pretty close together in terms of percentage wise, you can turn off one and on the other. So in other words, if you don't need your D, you can switch it off. Okay. And you can switch your I on, and then you could just be the life of the party, laughing, jokes, having fun, excited. People like you. They like being around you. You have good energy. But when you need to be a hard ass, you can switch that off and bring this in, okay? Versus a person that doesn't have a D can't even switch it on at all, okay? So, like, let's say if you have to deal with a situation, okay, like my wife is the D in the family, so I'm like let's say we're dealing with a warranty claim, okay? Let's just say that we're dealing with a warranty claim. I'm nice. I'm cool. Everything's good. Oh, yeah, you're going to replace it? Oh, yeah, yeah, no problem. Okay, good. Oh, you're not going to replace it. Oh, I understand what you're saying. Let me put my wife on the phone. Oh, you're done. It's game over. Your game is done, right? Because Mr. Nice Guy is gone, and I don't have the D, so I can't bring it up. You can switch these back and forth. Now let's talk about this S for a minute. The S is steady. Okay, so the S for you is low, but the S is a person that likes routine, they like rigidity, they like sameness, they like to eat at the same restaurants, order the same meals, and so on. Your S is pretty low. So I'm gonna guess that you may not, or you may have, sometimes people actually live within their S, but that's not who they really are. Okay. It's part of who you are. It's part of what you can bring to the game, but it's not the big piece of you. Now, a DI would be good at door knocking, okay, or cold calls. The issue that would make it not so is that you've got a high I also, okay. So your I has a fear of rejection, okay, a fear of rejection. The D's, they just want to be right, okay. The D wants it done right, and they want it done now, okay. And the I kind of has a fear of rejection. So you would be strong suited as a business owner, not a business operator, okay. So you should be running your business, not necessarily. You should be moving to the point where you're not involved in your business, in your day-to-day operation. In other words, you should be a leader. Like you should be out making deals, meeting people, um, you know, going to maybe new home subdivisions and meeting and making the deals and doing all the aggressive work for lead generation. This person is a rock star lead generator. Okay, also. Um, so let's talk, Judy. Do you have any questions around this? What do you think? Is there anything holding you back? She says, I can hear you. Judy says, I can hear you.
Yeah,
Uh,
can you hear me?
yeah, yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah,
What are your thoughts around this?
you hit the nail on the head because I have a high when they was asking questions, putting like considering other people's I guess needs before I make a decision.
Hmm.
That's me right there with the family, big time.
Hmm.
And it's been coming up that I need to ease back and stop thinking about them so much. Because I did tell hubby, I said, I feel like I lost myself. I'm like, I used to be, I don't know, to me, more on top of things. And I don't like this. I said, I don't kind of recognize myself anymore. I don't. And everything you said, you hit it on the head. I totally agree.
Yeah, a D is not gonna when a D wakes up. So what's happening is what we call an awakening. Okay, so you've been kind of dormant or maybe asleep a little bit, and that's good. You make sacrifices for family. Do you have children, Judy?
Yeah, two of them. Yep.
Okay.
They're- They're 19 and 21 now, and it's like, you guys are grown. It's like it's time for mama to get back to being who she's designed to be. That's what I've been saying.
Yeah, this is so you've got to care, but not that much. Okay, you have to care, but not that much. And it's we Artemis and I teach what we call detached compassion.
Okay.
Detached compassion. In other words, we care, we're compassionate, we want you to have the success, but we're not going to spoon feed you. Okay, because we're detached from the outcome. In other words, hubby and kids have to come second. You know, Judy has to come first. It's your season. It's your time. It's your time to be you. And everyone else, it sounds selfish, but scripture says, love your neighbor as you love what?
Yourself.
Yourself. Okay. So what scripture teaches is that we love ourselves first and then we love others from the outpouring of that. So if you have it in reverse, you do have to backtrack and get it in the right order. Now, we're not talking about loving the ego or loving the mind, okay? But you're loving the creation that God created, the you that you are, okay? And it's all about reaching your ultimate potentiality, your ultimate greatness. And if you really want to see who you are at the higher levels, then you want to take the wealth dynamics test, okay? And Artemis is the one that does that. ArtemisPrime.com. You can go. There's a fee involved, but I like the disc because it's free and it kind of gives people a window into um, who they are for if they want to dig deeper. The other thing, Judy, I'm going to mention is that there's a book called The Emotion Code that would be highly. I'm not sure who. I don't have it in my library here. It's in another library, but it's highly recommended because a lot of times mothers
Mhm.
will have emotional um, you'll have emotional blocks that need to be cleared. Okay, and this gentleman who's a God-fearing man, Jesus lover, he discovered that we have what we call trapped emotions in the body. And definitely, if you've been a mom, you've taken on a lot of, you can become an empath and you can take on a lot of energetic, um, basically emotions for other people. So you take on a lot of baggage, is the best way.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Awesome.
yeah, you want to rise and be who you are. Diana Kim put it, the emotion code, how to release your trapped emotions for abundant health, love, and happiness by Dr. Bradley Nelson. Thank you, Diana. Thank you for doing that. Appreciate you. All right. So that's you, Judy. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you. You know what? I knew that girl was in here somewhere.
Yeah. And see, here's the thing. When you bring her out to play, you are going to reach your ultimate potentiality and you're going to become unstuck in many areas.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. You're welcome. All right. Thank you. We vote your victory. All right. Who's next? Who's next? Who else wants me to share? I mean, you guys, if you have your disc profile with you and you want me to read it, some of you guys I've already done, and I know who you are. Oh, by the way, let me just share this with you too. Um, there, I've committed to do these once a month, and there are several of them already out on YouTube. Let me just show that to you real quick, and then we'll get back to who's next. Let me go to, okay, I'm going to show you. Let's go to, okay. So if you go to my channel on YouTube, first thing you want to do is subscribe to my channel because I want more subscribers and you want to know when I release new stuff. But you can just search for disc, okay? Then when you search for that, it's going to bring up the topics that I've done around disc. Oh, it's only bringing up one. Hold on, let me search across my channel. I did do that. Okay, disc. Hold on. Let's see. Okay, here we go. So you'll see that I've got how to lead generate based on your disc profile. And then I've got couple of disc profile trainings. Now, when you go into the disc profile training, those of you that I've already done, you'll notice that your name is going to be here with the ID of when you show up on the read, if you will. So, for example, we did Pamela Hewley, we did Lucas Colors, we did Shannon Chevette, we did Christy DeWolf, and we did Sonia Williams. And this is where they land time stamped on the actual video. So if you actually search for the video, you can actually click on the link, and then you can go right to that timestamp in the video. To if you forgot what yours is, or if you want to look and see if there's somebody kind of similar to yours, because there's a DI here, that's Pamela. Pamela mentioned that she's kind of lost herself too. This is something that I find with a lot of women, is that because they are such caregivers, they tend to lose who they are, and it's time to reclaim it. Let that man go without a meal and tell him I said so. All right. So, okay, who else? Pamela says I will. Ooh, don't put Larry on me now. I don't want, All right. So, anyone else that wants me to read your disc profile? You got your disc, or if you know what it is, punch it here in the chat. Or if you already sent it to me, unmute yourself and let me know that I have it.
Do you mind?
Rosa? Oh yeah, I got yours. Okay, yeah, I'll do yours. Okay, hold on. There's another guy that I've been promising him I'll do. We'll see if we get to his. Let me see here. I got yours right here, Rosa. Rosa, how far are you from El Paso?
I'm here.
Because are you right across the border?
Yeah, it's just like a couple, I'm gonna say blocks from El Paso.
Nah.
I'm in the border of New Mexico and El Paso.
Oh wow. So I'm gonna be hanging out with my main man, Will Gilliam and Deb Gilliam. We'll be in Ruidoso. They're mentorship masters, and he's the highest master in the ambassadors. So he gets to hang out with me for a week. Hey, what can I say? So I'm going to be flying into El Paso on Sunday.
Well, just let me know.
Yeah, I'll be flying in. So, I'll connect with you so that we can maybe, do a fist bump or an elbow or a hug, whichever is comfortable for you. All right. So let's do this. Okay, here you sent me the link. Here we go. All right, so here is Rosa. Okay, so Rosa is, let's see if we can all see hers here real quick on my phone again. See that, guys? I know it's a little bit out of focus, but the red represents D, okay? That represents the D, and that's the majority of what you are. Okay, and then the orange represents C. Okay. By the way, if you feel like if sometimes if you've done these and you feel like it's not quite you, sometimes I think this bears saying. Sometimes people are so out of touch with who they are that let me speak on this. So sometimes people are so out of touch with who they are that they can't even remember the real them. And so what I always recommend is that you get a loved one, like a spouse, and you have them take the test with you. I know it's crazy. A lot of coaches don't agree with me on this, but I found it to be very helpful. Even myself, I'll have my wife over my shoulder for the one or two questions where I'm just not quite sure. It could go either way, and she's like, it's that one. Because other people have a tendency to be able to see the real you better than you can see the real you. Okay, it's very, very important to understand that. And some people that, unfortunately, even when they were children, they've had the real you beaten out of them through, a heavy-handed parent or, bad circumstances or tragedy or whatever, and they become an introverted something that maybe they weren't in. It's not according to their true ultimate profile. But there's no right or wrong profile. When you understand your profile, all you're doing is you're understanding where you're strong and where you're weak. And then for where you're weak, you don't work on those strengths. Okay. You partner with others that have those strengths. So, okay, so looking at you, you're 48% D, Rosa, and you're 28% C, and you're 17% S. So your S is even lower than Judy's. So let's look at that. We're going to go with Rosa. Okay, Rosa. Oops. Here, let me. I'm writing down your profile instead of your name here. I want to write your name first. Rosa. Okay, D. And then you're a D. That D is 48. The C is 28. And by the way, this is not hard to do, guys. You guys can actually learn to do this. And the more agents that you start to become leaders of, you'll find that this comes in handy. Knowing how to, read people this way. So this is you, Rosa. That's you. Okay. You're in Judy. I didn't do the numbers for you, but yours were pretty much kind of even there. So as you can see, you're half 50% D. Okay. So so what a D does is they fire before they aim. Ready, fire, aim. Okay. And so a D is just like a bull in a china shop. They just plow through, they just move, they just get it done. Now my personality profile is highly systems. So I tend to organize things and put them in a linear fashion. And that drives D's nuts because the D's just want the information right now. They're like, man, I don't want to go watch a video. I don't want to go look at a sheet. Just tell me, and because the D, that's just the personality. They want it fast and they want it right and they want it now. Okay. And then the C, the interesting thing is you have your C is, the real interesting thing is your I. We'll get to that in a minute. Your I is 7%. Okay. We'll get to that in a second. So your C is 28%. So that C stands for your compliance. Okay. So as a C can actually snap into systems, can actually like some rigidity, actually likes schedule, routine, and things like, well, the S is really more so the routine, but the C is compliance. So the C can kind of snap into systems. Okay. So you're a high D with a system. So this could be like maybe what we call a mechanic profile. You'd have to take the wealth dynamics test to see that. But so with the high D though, you're going to be in charge. Okay. You're in charge of things. You run the operation. You run the show. You're the one that tells people how it's done and how it's going to be done. And there may be a tendency with that much D to kind of dumb it down, okay? Because you might feel that that's not the way you should be showing up, and you might even feel a tendency. You might even feel embarrassed or even a bit. What's the word? Not necessarily embarrassed, but you feel ashamed. Okay, you might feel ashamed at your authority, like your and so as a part of that, a lot of times when people are very authoritative, okay, that's the kid on the schoolyard that's 3 or 4 years old telling the kids what else to do, directing the children. Okay, you go do this, and I want you over here. The leaders, the managers, the business directors. Okay, and a lot of times when, especially in the female world, I don't want to make it sexist, but this is a really dumb world, right? In many respects. I will say that most of my personal bosses, has been female. I've had one boss that was a male. Every other boss that I've had was female. And I prefer it personally. I think that women run the world. They just don't get the recognition for doing it, okay? And so what you want to do, Rosa, is you want to take your rightful place as who you are. Take that authority. Don't be ashamed of it. Don't be like, oh, there I am, bossy again. There might be a tendency to feel like it's too masculine, but it's not. This is neither feminine nor masculine. This is just who you are. And then your C is very good in that it can snap into systems once you understand what those systems are. But the downside of a C is that the C, like for Judy shouldn't be doing any paperwork, no contract, no. I don't ever want to see her with a piece of paper in her hand. That's Judy. Now for you, you actually could take on paperwork because you got some CNS going. You could do contract to close and things like that. But I still don't want you doing that. Okay. I want your D to just kind of take over the show, and you just get out there and generate leads. Now the I, let's talk about this for just a second. The fact that you don't have a big I is interesting. So usually when a person doesn't have a big I, they don't really like to be around people that much. They're not really people. They can do with or without people. They're okay with people or not. It doesn't, one way or another, it's okay. You don't hate people. It's just that you don't you don't you don't necessarily need to be around people. It's not something you need to thrive. Okay. Whereas Judy has that eye going where she needs to be around people. Okay. So this is you, Rosa. And what I would recommend again is when you have this CS, you're going to have a tendency to want to be perfect, perfectionism. Remember, perfection is the enemy of progress. Don't make it perfect before you launch. Okay. A lot of people with this profile operate with what we call failure to launch. Okay. They want everything to be perfect before they get out of the gate. And that's not how it works. Just make sure it's good enough and go. Okay. Now your D will handle that for you because the D is ready to jump and make things happen. So talk to me, Rosa. What do you say? What do you think?
Oh my God, I thought you had a crystal ball right there.
Like a crystal ball?
Yeah, I'm like, oh my gosh, just for that. He told me, like, and it is true. I want things done right here and there, and I'm good with paper.
Yeah.
And that's why I do loans. The reason why I did loans is like I didn't have the people near me. It's like, come bring me documents and you're out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You like behind the scenes. See, and this is the downside of a person that has CS going. Because if you notice, your CS is pretty much 50%, just like your D is. Okay, so you actually are really good at doing paperwork and things like that, but that's not where the money is. Okay, and that's not where the ultimate service is. So your D. This is good so that whoever you have doing the paperwork, you make sure and you know that they're doing it right. But you really want to live in the D as much as possible because that's where the millions are. Okay. This is $10 to $15 an hour. This is $1,000 an hour. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. But like sometimes that's where I get myself in a lot of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I tell someone, hey, this is not right, they get mad.
Yeah. There's I mean, with proper coaching, there's some ways to tell people things, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Like you have to be you. You're not in it to please others. You know what I'm saying? You got to be who you are, and you have to speak your truth. Very important.
Okay, well, I'm looking forward to get that coaching to get my D out because I really need to work my D.
Rock that D, baby. Let's go. Yeah, and read more about your disc profile because it comes with a whole chart and information, just so you can understand yourself better.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Okay. Lisa says she's like 70% D. Wow. Yeah, that's good, Lisa. I mean, that's why I say, people make such a big deal out of the way that I attract agents because I'm a good attractor, but I'm nowhere as good as what you guys could be. Most of you could beat the pants off of me. It's just that you're not doing it. Like, what's going on? If I had your profile, okay, so let's look at Diana. Diana, you're up next. And thank you, Rosa, for playing with us. We vote your victory. We vote your victory. All right, so now, Diana, let me pull yours up. And Diana just sent hers right here inside of the chat. So that's cool. That works too. Let me show you guys my screen so you can see this. Okay, so this is Diana. And you can see that, ooh, hold on a minute. All right, so Diana is, the S is 46%, and the I is 32%, and the C is 13%. Okay, so let's look at this. Let us look at this together. So, find my marker here. Okay, here we go. So S 46, and I think Rosa was a D 46. So you guys are like almost opposite. Okay, so 32, and the C is 13, and then the D is 9. Okay, so what we used to say, let me put Diana's name here. What we used to say, Diana, for somebody like you, is that you're good at the paperwork. You would be like a good, what we call, back in my Keller Williams days before I joined EXP, we would call that like a MCA, Market Center Administrator, or you're good at the admin, or the you're good at the not necessarily clerical, but the administrative side, like the systems and things like this. Because this is you right here. So Diana, let me move this over. Is 46% S, 32% I, okay, and then she's got the 13% on the C. Okay, so really you're an SI is what you are. Okay, you're an SI. I've got the C in here for good measure, because your C is in here a little bit, but you're steady. Okay, you're steady. An SI is a person that is very enjoyable, very cordial, very nice, polite. Okay, they like to be around people. Okay, people person, but they also like systems. They like steadiness, rigidity. They like routine. They like sameness. An extreme S would eat at the same restaurant on Monday, a different restaurant on Tuesday, and they have a chart on the wall for which days and which restaurants they eat at, and what meals they're going to order at that restaurant. S's, they like to learn. They like to acquire knowledge and gain information. They're fast learners, and they're just really, really loyal people as well, very loyal. The I is what brings you some fun, because if you have an S and a C with no I in it, that's a librarian. Okay, now not that librarians can't be fun, but that's classic librarian, what comes to mind. But because your I is so high, I mean, you could, now this kind of person right here, if they could switch it. So the I can go really, really high. So we got to, like, for example, the steadiness you can rock that out, but when the I is switched on, forget it. We got to keep, we're going to have to keep a leash on you, because, we get you at the party and we're like, where's Diana? Let's get that girl. You might end up having too much fun, put it that way. Now the S though, keeps you, so these can go back and forth. So the steadiness will keep you more like on track, the goody girl, in the books, studies, things like that. Whereas the I though, when you switch to the I, it's like the beast came out, like a whole different person. So it's like, who is this? Is this it's like Jekyll and Hyde, but it's still you. It's who you are. It's you're two pieces of the same puzzle, if you will. You've got a little bit of C that's working. We won't speak too much on it because it's not enough to really, I mean, you can pull it up some if you needed to, but the S and C together makes for a really good kind of admin paperwork type person. But you want to get away from that. Now, this is pretty much my profile personally. I'm an ISC is what I am. So my S and C are pretty much identical, and my I is high. So generally, we would say a person like this, what we used to say in the old days, that was male-dominated, good old boy real estate system, would say, oh, this person would never be a great agent, okay? But this is pretty much my profile, and I've always been in the top 1%. So what you have to understand, Diana, is how to make your profile work for you, okay? how to make it work for you. And the way you're going to do that is you're going to work through systems. Systems is going to be your multiplication, and you're going to use your charm, the fact that people like you. You can walk in a room or into a place. You don't even have to say a word. People like you, okay? Because you have a high eye, okay? Your personality profile permeates beyond what you say. It's who you are. It's your essence. It's your being. It's like the cologne that you wear. It's what you can't fake it. People know what you are, okay? And so, but the fact that you don't have any dominance whatsoever could seem to other people like they could play you or that they could walk all over you, okay? But if a person that understands who they are wouldn't let that happen, okay? So you're going to be a very loyal person, very, very loyal. But if somebody hurts you or they disrespect you or they betray you, you're done. And you're probably done for life with this kind of profile. So, again, the way that you're going to reach ultimate success with this profile is that you get around people and then get away from people. You switch it. So sometimes you're around people, but you can get too much of it. And then you switch that off, and then you go to your systems and you build systems up, and you have other people. Ultimately, you're going to have other people that do most of the work for you. Let me say it again. Most of the work that you do is going to be done eventually by other people. Now, I know you and Mina are working some things out, and we'll have to look at this, maybe even with your wealth dynamics profile, to see, if that fits within what you guys are doing. But at the end of the day, you will ultimately become a leader that leads others. Okay, and you gotta learn the stuff yourself, but that's eventually what you'll be. So Diana, what are we saying? What's going on? How you feel about that?
Just like everybody else, you're hitting on the head as you were talking about the S profile and then the I. Just was laughing because you were describing exactly me. I'm also a tempo, the deal maker, so that's something else I'm learning to use. So this is really good information. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk about my profile.
Yeah, the problem. So if you're a deal maker, the issue with a deal maker being this profile is your I hates rejection. Okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't like rejection. It likes people and it likes making the deal, but it doesn't like to be rejected. The S, on the other hand, is like very steady, and a lot of times deals go kind of weird. You know what I'm saying? And so when you don't bring any D to the table, that's where you might need. I don't remember what Mina is, but you might need somebody with more D as a partner. See, I surround myself with Ds because I don't have any. And so there's no shame in your game. It's just that, you just have to understand, like Kevin and Fred, Ds. Curtis Johnson, D. All the guys in our, this male testosterone driven type, I just don't have it. So I surround myself with the bucks and then I pass the ball sometimes. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, you're welcome. All right, so next up we got, boy, you guys are coming out the woodwork now. We got Tanika. Do we have Tanika? Yeah, and then Andrea. So I got time. I'll do two more and then we'll call it. Now remember, guys, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be doing this once a month is my commitment. And I'm recommitting to it because I kind of got off track the last few months. All right, so, and by the way, if you're one of these profiles, you see yourself here, great. You can kind of piggyback on someone else's reading, if you will. Okay, Tanika Bearfield, we're going to get you next. Tanika is, and by the way, Tanika, you're almost capped, I think, from what I've been seeing. You're rocking it.
Yep, few more deals. I'm gonna hit it.
How many?
Well, I have like 6 in escrow right now, so I
Say that again.
6 deals in escrow. Woohoo!
Go, girl. I love it. All right. So, so we got S, I, and then we got D. So when you started here, Tanika, you were a little bit, when you started with Mentorship Masters, you were a little bit leery as to if this was the right fit. What's changed for you? How are you doing? You got 6 deals in escrow. That's amazing.
Not too much change. I just made the decision to go all in, and I watch your videos, even though I can't make it live sometimes. I'm watching everything and just taking what you say and doing it. That's all. Just apply.
That's it. Okay, I
Take
love
action.
it. I love
Action.
it. Perfect. Taking action. Okay. All right. So let's look at you. Okay. And Lisa says, "Oh my God, it's so true. I have a 70% D and always want everything right now, and it's taken me time now to start implementing systems into my business." Yeah. And the thing is, Lisa, don't feel like you have to go too far down the road of implementing systems. What we teach is that what you want to do is you want to eventually, you already have a couple of VAs. So what you want to do with your VAs, find out what their personality profile is. If you already know it, cool. And then you want them to basically document your system. Document your system. So in other words, what you teach the VA is, hey, everything that you do, I want you to document it step by step. Now, if they don't know how to do that, I can teach them. Okay. I'm a master at teaching VAs how to do what they're supposed to do. Why? Because I'm basically a VA. I'm like a glorified admin. That's my profile. Any profile you have, you can rock it and make it work for you. So Lisa, make sure your VAs are documenting everything that you do so that you have a handbook. So whether if one of them's out sick for a week or two, somebody can just step in and do their job without knowing anything about it. It should be documented to that level. Okay. So you don't really have to learn systems. You just have to surround yourself with people that know systems and implement systems. You basically crack the whip. That's what you're supposed to do, Lisa. We'll get to yours one of these days, but 70% D is pretty far out there. So Tanika, 42% S. So you're an SID. Okay. SID. So kind of similar to what we just did. We just did wasn't that SID? Let me see. Yeah,
Very close.
yeah, very, very similar. Very, very, very similar. Except your D is now, as you can see this, your D is quite a bit higher. Okay, quite a bit higher than Diana's D. So, but your S is still 42%. So I would say a lot of what we talked about for Diana is also going to apply to you. Your I is lower. Okay, you have a lower I than what Diana had. So you have even less of a need to be around people. Okay, you do have some need for that. I mean, everybody does, but you have less of a need for it than what Diana has. By the way, do you guys realize that there's some of us that get our energy from being around people, and some of us are drained by being around people? There's nothing. Don't look at yourself like, what's wrong with me? How come I don't like people? That's your profile. That's how God made you. The way I look at it is, think about now, the Cowboys talking. So think about going on a cattle run. When you're on that cattle run, you need a cook. Somebody's got to be a cook. You need some guys and gals up front running the cattle. You need somebody that's mending things. You need somebody. You need all kind of people. So it takes a village, and you have to understand, what is your role. You showed up to the game. What's your role? You showed up to this game called life. What role are you supposed to play? And then you just play the role, and don't give any excuses for it. Just be you. Do you. And just like if when I used to do theater, every now and then you'd be a bad guy. I'm gonna be the best bad guy you've seen. I'm gonna be bad. You know what I'm saying? Because that's my role. So you just want to assume your role. And don't try to change it. Don't try to be something that you admire in other. Start to love yourself for the uniqueness of what God created you to be. Okay. So your S can get you into trouble because you're going to be pretty good with paperwork and things like this. Your C is pretty low, so that'll kind of keep you from maybe wanting. The C is called compliance. So with no C, usually people that don't have a lot of C, they don't like rules. They don't like rules. They don't like regulations. They don't like being told what to do. They don't like authority. And so so that might, play against you a little, okay? But mostly you should live in the S. That's the steadiness, the routine, um, the smooth and even, smooth and even. And if you get in that lane, which it sounds like you got 6 deals in escrow, and you're going, you're doing one deal after another, okay? And it used to be that you worked, from what I remember, you worked at I think it was a government job or a county or something like that, and you worked. It was the same thing. Your S was going with that kind of work. Okay, so a lot of times people have they have a hard time figuring out how they're going to translate their superpower into real estate. And I'm telling you, it doesn't matter what your superpower is, you can translate it to this business. But I would say almost most of what I said for Diana is going to apply to you, except your I is lower, so you have less of a need to be around people. Your D is higher, so you can take more authority and more charge of the situation if you need to. Does that make sense?
Yes. I was always a little scared because of the S. When I first started in real estate, I think my office manager was like, he always say, we always getting ready.
Yeah.
And we're never going to be able to do anything, and you can't be successful real estate agent if you're a high S. And I was like, that was a little discouraging.
Yeah.
But luckily I didn't listen to him.
No, and this is what the classic good old boys teach, and I'm against it, because essentially what they want to do is pigeonhole you into a pigeonhole and say, this is who you are. You have no business trying to sell houses. And I'm not going for it. I believe that anybody can succeed if you know who you are and you play who you are. You play to your strength. What'd you do before real estate, Tanika? Remind me.
Actually, I was working for CoStar Commercial Real Estate.
Okay, that's right. Okay.
And we just call and gather information, more so just gathering information and keeping the database up to date, but it was kind of boring. So
yeah, that is S work, but because your eye is rocking, you're going to get bored with doing that too much. You're going to switch. You want a little bit of fun in there, a little bit of play, and you want a little bit of things that are challenging and more that bring your D to the game a little bit. So now somebody that's just a purely high S with a C, they can do that for 30, 40 years and retire and be fine. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We didn't do a full one on you because you kind of piggybacked on Diana, but that's good. You're doing, with the kind of production you're hitting, you're doing what you need to do. So keep it up.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. So Andrea, we're going to do you last. And if I didn't get to you, we're going to go another 10 minutes. I know we're at the top of the hour. We're going to go another 10 minutes. And if I didn't get to you, don't worry. I'll get to you next time. We're going to be doing this every month. So.
Hey, Knolly.
Mm-hmm.
I am an SI. I'm so similar to Diana.
Oh my goodness,
and
look
Tanika.
at you.
We're like 3 peas in a pod. So our scores are very similar. You probably can see that.
Yeah, I see that. So yeah, you guys are saving me time. I like that.
And I was like an office administrator before this. So it's like, hitting the head on the nail once again.
Yeah. So let me see. Let me look. Yeah, you're an S. Your S is 40%. Oh, okay. So that's okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah, that you were putting that you're basically right there with. Yeah, I tell you, and that's the last thing I'll say on this, and then we'll kind of adjourn the meeting. But don't let anybody tell you that you can't succeed with your profile. I'm here to tell you that that's garbage. Okay, that's absolutely garbage. And what's happened is, because people have those self-limiting beliefs, they're like, man, I wish I could cold call. I used to say that all the time. I wish I could just pick up the phone and call people. That's not me. And it doesn't have to be. And I'm still, knocking the pants off of these guys, because what you want to do, you come at it with competition. Okay. There is no competition. The only competition is you. You are in competition with yourself. But let's still play the game. Let's still have fun. And we say, okay, oh, I see it. You sold, or you're at this level. Like right now, in when it comes to attracting at the company, you know, I'm in the top, say the top 10. Okay. Within our group with Jay Kinder, Mike Reese, I'm in the top 5. Well, I guarantee you there ain't nobody else in the top 5 that's an ISC. None of them. Why? Because they've never learned, most ISCs have never learned who they are and how to show up to the party, how to show up to the game with who they are. And if you know that, then that becomes actually, it works in your favor. You're like, I know I suck at cold calling, but watch how I rock it with Facebook ads. Watch how I do my YouTube video. You ain't seen nothing yet. You know, you come at it with a different angle, and it's just like the tortoise and the hare. Okay, the tortoise and the hare. The tortoise, you know, if the SCs are the tortoise, the hare is the high D. I hate to say it, y'all high Ds, but so the high D has a focus problem. Okay, if you just continue to focus on what you need to on the target, you'll succeed. Now the CSs and the SCs have a problem with over focusing. Okay, they're getting ready to get ready. So, but once you know how you are, you can play the game and you can win at a high level. So I'm going to check a couple more if you guys have any other comments. And then Judy says, we got to rock that D. I know it's a kind of an ongoing thing with the Ds. I'm like, y'all Ds, when we start doing our live events, we're going to put the Ds on one side of the room. We're going to put the, nah, I'm just kidding. We ain't going to do that. All right. Congratulations, Tanika. It says Judy. Thanks, everybody. Diana was the one that worked in state government. Okay. So a government worker, I tell you, that could be me. That could be me. Okay. Hey, I love you guys. Unmute yourself. Say goodbye. I will not be here next week unless Will and I decide to crash the party and just kind of make fun of you guys because you're not hanging with us. Maybe, I don't know. But unmute yourself. Bye. See y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.
Enjoy the
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Good.
You guys have an awesome week. Have an awesome vacation.
Bye,
Have a
everyone.
wonderful vacation.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you. I will. I'm going to have some fun, y'all. Margarita. Margaritaville. Nah.
Ah!